The Eagles just got some huge news pertaining to their defense, which honestly might make them unstoppable and help propel us to that ultimate goal of the Super Bowl. Also, our quarterback may be too pretty. We'll talk about that. But last thing I do want to talk about today is two players on the defense that are getting a lot of love and might even be in the race for some awards. So let's talk about it.
You want Philly?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. It's your boy Joe Castro, a.k.a. Philly Fresco, and it is Philly, the podcast, man. I am elated. I am elated. I am very happy about what this team is right now. LaShawn McCoy coming out saying that this is the best team he's ever seen, best Eagles team he's ever seen. I would love to know if you guys agree with that. I'm starting to lean towards that. You are just all around, right? All around, you have everything that you need. You have a good defense. And even within that defense, you look at our prior Super Bowl year where we lost to the Chiefs. I don't feel like our secondary was that good. I just felt like our front seven was monstrous that year. This year, I feel like our secondary is holding down their weight just as much as that front seven. But you look at the cornerbacks, you look at the safety play, you look at the linebacking play, which we'll talk about more later. You look at the D line, Jalen Carter just evolving every game. He's becoming that guy, even though the stats may not necessarily show it. You look at the box score, 4.5 sacks this year. It's not like he's out here getting 45 sacks at the defensive tackle position, but every play, every single play, you have to know where Jalen Carter is if you're the offense, and you have to game plan for him. So you look at him, you look at Jalen Hurts, you look at, Nolan Smith making a huge improvement this year. You can look at almost any position on this field, on this team, and say, wow, they really got it together. Offensively, I feel like it's a slow maturation. I feel like they're continuously getting more and more comfortable with Kellen Moore, and Kellen Moore is getting more comfortable with what he feels Jalen Hurts can and likes to do. You see the running game. I mean, that's almost the easy part, right? When you have a guy like Saquon Barkley and you have an offensive line like we do, that's almost the easy part, is to tell him go out there and run. But I want to talk about some certain things, because honestly, one piece of news that we got this morning might be the biggest news that we've seen all year, to be honest with you. The Eagles have dealt with a lot of injuries this year, but mostly minor. We've been very lucky that it hasn't been season-long things, with the exception of James Bradbury. But you look at a lot of these players dinged up. Darius Slay's missed plays here and there, missed a game, I believe, or two. So, A.J. Brown's missed a game or two. You look down the roster, and obviously we've been dinged up. But we are, and I think that this is kind of unarguable, we are one of the healthier, if not one of the healthiest teams in the NFL right now, which is a beautiful thing to see. The best ability is availability, right? But we are getting now the Bryce Huff return. All right, now I know that Bryce Huff, when he was first starting with us, he wasn't really doing what we wanted him to do, wasn't really looking good. I mean, there was, people putting up his stats almost after every game saying, where was he? Everybody was saying that he was just doing cardio. We saw towards the tail end, right before he got hurt, he was kind of coming into his own. We kind of figured out, put his hands in the dirt, let him rush the quarterback, and let him do what he's good at. And that's when he started to kind of shine. Unfortunately, he did get hurt, right? Had to go and get that surgery, but now they opened his 21-day window, which in my opinion is huge. Not because you're asking him to go in there and start right away and, have 90% of the snaps or 60% of the snaps. You got a guy like Jalen Hurts. You know that Nolan Smith has come along. You know that you have Josh Sweat on the other side. This just adds to that rotation. This is going to be a really, really good rotation for the Eagles. I mean, like I said, Jalen Hurts has come along. I don't want to get him off the field. I don't want to get Nolan Smith off the field too much. So again, this is just a beautiful way to keep these guys fresh, going into the playoffs. We know how the Eagles like to play, right? We know how our defensive coordinators, or you can blame the organization, whoever you want to say, we know how they like to run this. They like to have those kind of hockey sets, right? Hockey lines where you're just continuously keeping your defensive line fresh. And that's hard to deal with other opposing offenses and coordinators to deal with, because you not only are dealing with fresh players, you're having totally different and, very versatile types of skill sets, right? It's different when you're going against the Bryce Huff to when you're going against a Josh Sweat, or a Josh Sweat to a Nolan Smith, or a Nolan Smith to a Jalen Hunt, or, whoever it may be. If you're putting Jalen Carter on the outside, if you're putting Milton Williams on the outside, these are all different skill sets. And then you also have to deal with these linebackers. So Bryce Huff coming back, his 21-day window opening, to me is big. And I know a lot of people are going to look at the stats and probably, disagree with me, but you want depth. You want guys that you feel comfortable putting in there and being able to produce for you. And I think that Bryce Huff is one of those guys. Now, the next thing I do want to talk about is apparently our quarterback is a little bit too pretty. He's a little bit too pretty. Dominic Foxworthy, and we're not going to talk too much about this, but Dominic Foxworthy went on his show. It basically said that, yeah, he's an all right. He compared him to Jimmy Garoppolo if Jimmy Garoppolo was good. Basically said he's pretty, he plays into his looks and this and that. I don't see it. I don't see Jalen Hurts out there walking down the sideline like it's a runway. A wise man once said, once the hate don't work, they start telling lies. And that's just what it feels like with a lot of these media members and a lot of people in the media in general, that they just want to talk about the Eagles somehow, some way, right? We saw the nightcap, I believe the show is called, with Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco. We saw them talking about it and how, are we in a tailspin? People are going to lie about the Eagles right now because the Eagles are in a really good position. And if you're an Eagles fan, I implore you to not listen to a lot of what people are putting out. We know what our radio stations like to do in Philly, so I don't really have to say much about that. But let's not listen to the outsiders. I think that we can take a page from our own team's book and just kind of drown out the hate, because it is a lot of hate, a lot of negativity, and we don't need that right now. We don't need that right now. We on our way to a Super Bowl. I don't want to hear nobody talk, all right? Now, last thing I do want to talk about is two players that have been getting a lot of love over the past couple of weeks, and rightfully so, and might be in the conversation for some awards. So we'll get into that. But before we get into that, be sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, join the family, man. We are on the road to 10K. I would love to hit 10K before the end of this season. That's our goal right now. If we do it, we do it. If we don't, we don't. But I would appreciate if you guys joined. We have a bunch of content coming. We're going to some bowl games this year. We're going to Senior Bowl again this year. Going to be working on a lot of media stuff. So I would really appreciate if you guys gave me a follow, gave me a subscribe, and follow me on Fox Sports The Gambler as well. Now, let's get into it. So, two players. One player, the first player I'm going to say, all right, is actually, if you don't know me, all right, if you don't know who I am, my dog is named after Nakobe Dean, okay? His name is Nakobe, okay? He might get up because he's hearing me. He knew I was going to talk about him. That's why he's back there. But, my dog is named Nakobe. I always had faith in Nakobe. Now, going back to even when I was scouting him, his class was like the first class that I really took scouting. I don't want to say scouting, but I really took looking into these prospects a lot more serious. You guys saw me go to the draft. You guys saw me go to the combine, Senior Bowl, all that. That's when it really started. I'm going to be honest with you, right? So when I was watching him, I told a lot of people to kind of calm down their expectations. A lot of people thought he would be a first-round pick. I was trying to let people know I didn't really necessarily see that. I thought that he went where he was supposed to go at that time, but there was a lot of talent there, okay? There was a lot of talent. I understood when you look at prospects, you want to kind of bring in their flaws, right? You want to look at their flaws and you want to say, how would an NFL scout or how would an NFL owner look at this player and say, how would they sell themselves and how would they, buy whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? But you got to look at both sides of the glass. So with Nakobe, it was size, it was injuries, it was some question marks, but you saw his ability to get to the backfield. You saw his ability to read the eyes of quarterbacks. And when he was held clean, when he was, when the defensive line is doing their job and he doesn't have to worry about going through muck or anything muddy, he does an amazing job. We've seen him sideline to sideline. We've seen him shooting gaps. And this is something he's done throughout his collegiate career. And realistically, even in the NFL, I've continuously said, and yes, I am doing the I told you so, but I continuously said and was told on here that I'm crazy. I need to let it go. Nakobe Dean, when he played, he was very good. When he was healthy, he was very good. The biggest thing with him was his ability to stay healthy. Now that he's been able to do that this year, he is playing at an elite level. One of the only linebackers in the NFL with 100 sacks already and 100 tackles and 3 sacks. He's one of 2 people on our team, Zack Baun being the other, and that's the other guy that is getting some love for possibly Defensive Player of the Year. Now, do I think they'll win it? Maybe not. Probably not. To be 100% honest with you, if they do. I think that they're very deserving. I would have to kind of look through every other defensive player of the year candidate and kind of go scout down their stats and everything and really give my opinion there. But just the fact that their names are being mentioned, I think, is a huge win for the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is the future of the team. I'm praying and I'm hoping to God that they find some way, somehow, to keep Zack Baun in this team and you just continue to grow. Zack Baun's not that old. So I'm excited about this team. I'm excited about not only what they're going to do this year and going into February, but the next season and the season after that. We are very young and we are very talented. So you guys can keep hating. All right. That's what I got to say. But other than that, man, I would love to know what you guys think as always. You know what I'm saying? Just leave some comments. Let's start a conversation. I will be going live tonight. If you're watching this on December 18th, I will be going live tonight with some special guests that if you're old to the show, if you've been watching for a while, you'll know who they are, and we have some cool announcements to make. But other than that, y'all know what it is, man. I'll see y'all at 7:30, hopefully. But yeah, it's Fly Eagles Fly, and we are out here. Peace!
Everywhere, this is for
Yeah.
you.
Fly Eagles flying on the team. Touchdown, touchdown. Time to get Jalen this ring. You don't really want to start a thing. This a bird gang nation, baby. It's a Philly thing. Hater, and you looking like you type trash. I'm just here calling on Philly, the podcast. And we can call a man dog or watch Miles score off the handoff. Rest of the division, your man soft. Jackson like Sean, hunting like Randolph. Season here, early time to do 'em in. Your boy Philly Fresco, thanks for tuning in.